Keep watching to see how I turn this, an old leaf spring and a piece of mild steel, into this, a badass knife that's real shiny. Also, you might want to check out the prequel. It's called Making the Leaf Spring Knife Part 1. Part 2 of the leaf spring knife. Here's my blade. This is, well, there's the other part of the leaf spring right there. So I have a 38 Chevy truck. Right now I'm making the bolster. These two pieces right here are going to go around the, around here. And then these pieces are just going to, the first half of the handle is going to be metal. I'm going to weld all these pieces together, and then I'm going to weld them onto the blade so it'd be real sturdy, and sand it all down and make it flush. With this micarta, it's going to be the handle. It's going to be sweet. Sorry for the delay, but yeah, I've been working on other stuff other than knives for a while. Alright guys, I'm about to shape and deburr these bolster pieces, and for that I'll be using my homemade 2x72 belt grinder, 60 grit paper. This is going to be the first part of the handle, like the first ½ inch or so. These are two pieces of metal, and I've ground them down and ground a little, ground the edge off of each side of them so that whenever they came together they'd form that groove right there. And I'm going to weld them together, weld inside that groove so that I can sand it flush and it'll look like one continuous piece of metal. Alright, see there, I welded that together. And now I'm going to sand it. I'm going to see if I can find a better angle to show you this at. But here's the bolster pieces finished. You can see there are three pieces of metal sandwiched together, but they kind of all flow as one piece because of the weld. And it's kind of pitted because I'm using a flux core welder, so I'll sand those pits out and fill them in with silver solder. And so this is how it goes together with the handle piece in the middle. So here's the nearly finished bolster. I've welded it together, and you can't really, well, you can kind of see where the weld is, but I'll buff that out. Right now it slides up and down the knife. I just remembered I was about to weld that bolster on, and I remembered I haven't heat treated this knife. So it's annealed because I had to heat it up to straighten it out, so I'm just going to call it annealed. And rather than tempering the blade and then annealing the back, I'm just going to temper the edge. So from this line up, I'm going to try and get it, you know, red hot with my acetylene torch evenly. Hopefully that's possible. Just get that evenly red hot and then quench it in my bucket. And that'll screw up my finish that I've already made, but the finish wasn't that great anyway, so I'll do that over again. Alright, here's the blade after quenching. You can see it's discolored. And sorry I'm not showing you all these steps, but what I did was just took the acetylene torch, ran it up this side, and then back down this side, back up that side, until I got it all evenly glowing. And then I took it out of the vise and I quenched it in that bucket there. And now I gotta redo my finish on it. Finish and then I'll buff it on that buffing wheel with some stainless steel green compound. Get it back to nice and shiny and tempered. Now there's some pretty deep scratches in there, so I had to step it down to a 220 belt, and this is what it looks after a 220 belt. A little bit of shine to it, but not very much. Here it is after 320 grit. You'll notice every the lines are now going up and down, whereas before they were going this way. That's because every I moved the camera over here where you can get a better look at what's going on. Here's the knife. I just went over it with a 320 grit, and I'm about to make a pass with 400 grit. And I'm gonna let y'all take a look at how I'm doing this. See, with the 320 grit, I went across the blade, so on this one I'm gonna go long ways with the blade. Alright, sorry guys, I keep getting ahead of the camera. What I've done is I have finished up with the sanding, and I've cut my micarta pieces. Here's one slab. I've got it duct taped to the handle so I can drill my holes. I used a carbide bit and I drilled a hole there in the blade, and there's the hole that was already in the leaf spring for the bolt to go through. And I'm just using that hole, and I've got these. See where there it is. These loveless-style bolts, and those go in there. Actually, I might need to use the next biggest bit. Not wanting to fit in there, but I'll countersink so the head will go down inside the micarta, and about that much sticking up, and then I'll just sand it off. But yeah, now I'm gonna take this duct tape off, put the other slab of micarta on there, this one, and then I'll duct tape all three pieces together like that, and then drill straight through. Alright, I've epoxied the two sides of the micarta onto the handle, and so I just put the epoxy on either side of the metal, and also on both of the pieces of micarta, and then stuck it together and tightened. Alright, you can see there I've the glue is set overnight, and I've sanded and shaped the handle. The loveless connectors fit real smooth, and it's real flush up against here. It's turning out pretty good. This is just 60 grit sandpaper that I used on here. I'm gonna go and use a higher grit. Alright, here it is, all done. Handle's polished up. I polished it with the buffer. The micarta colors didn't really come out the way I wanted them to, but you know, you get what you pay for. I put another quick buff on the blade. You see that sucker's mirror sharp, mirror shiny, I mean. I polished up the bolster. It's pretty shiny too. I'm really impressed. It's a good, straight, sharp, tough, and pretty knife. There's the camera.